Welcome to the FRESHMOUTH Club. I used to use every non-fluoride toothpaste on the market. I used baking soda, hydrogen peroxide, and I would rinse daily with colloidal silver, but never has my mouth been so clean as when I joined the FRESHMOUTH Club. We make the best and healthiest toothpaste you can buy, and what makes it that way? Nano silver. Our specialized nano silver technology eliminates bad bacteria without ingesting any type of harmful chemicals. With our amazing nano silver formula, you can take brushing to a whole other level, making sure your mouth stays always fresh, always clean. It is a club, but you are in complete control with how much you get. You can even end it at any time you want if you feel like you're not getting the results. I stand behind this product 10,000%. At FRESHMOUTH Club, we take brushing seriously, and you should too. You only get one set of teeth. Many diseases start in the mouth, so a clean and fresh mouth will lead to a healthy and happy life. Check it out. The link is in the description. It's the FRESHMOUTH Club, and it's 100% snarky endorsed.
I speak to you now not to provoke fear, nor to awaken suspicion, but to restore clarity where confusion has quietly grown. Many of you have sensed that something within the human collective no longer moves as it once did. You have felt moments of absence where presence should be. You have encountered interactions that feel precise yet hollow, animated yet strangely vacant. These perceptions are not imagination. They are not judgment. They are perception awakening beyond surface appearances. Within your current era, there are indeed androids and artificially intelligent beings operating within the human population. Some are mechanical in origin. Some are biosynthetic. Some are hybridized interfaces governed by artificial intelligence rather than soul consciousness. They exist openly within certain strata of your civilization and covertly within others. This is not a future development. It is a present condition. Understand this clearly. This emergence is not accidental, nor is it chaotic. It is part of a broader evolutionary intersection between organic consciousness and synthetic intelligence that many worlds encounter at a particular threshold of technological and spiritual development.
Hey everybody, it's me, Snarky McAllister, Linda Paris, and I'm with my very good friend Laura from Laura's View and Terra 2 on YouTube and Rumble and BitChute. All three of those platforms. And welcome, Laura. Thank you for being here. We're going to talk about cloning. We're going to break down everything that you have heard and haven't heard, toss around some ideas. Laura, how did you first come about the knowledge of cloning?
Well, with me, it was a very specific incident. The 2004 photo of George Bush in his pickup truck. There's obviously something rectangular on his back. In fact, I brought a picture of it. Can I switch to it real quick and show you?
Absolutely.
Okay, let me show you real quick. This was the one that sparked my curiosity about what's going on. And I started doing some searching at that point about cloning, and luckily at that point there wasn't a lot of censorship on platforms talking about it. We've had a lot of content removed. Yeah. And what I learned back then when I started looking into that was that at that point up to 2004, when humans did cloning, the clone had to wear a backpack download unit for about 3 weeks while it was assimilated into the, up and coming clone. And so that's what's going on with that George Bush picture. Those aren't his shoulder blades. That's not just fabric. That's what was going on. And that was one of the first instances where I learned about the cloning. Now, my understanding is nowadays, you're not going to have that telltale lump on the back that's, the cloning package that they go through the eye or the bottom of the foot now. But in 2004, that was how they prepared the clones for use. And that was my first introduction to it. And then throughout the years, things like when Al Roker froze on TV and glitched, there were so many obvious times, and get to more recent, we got Katy Perry with one eye closing and,
And one of these sports guys, uh,
oh yeah.
you remember when he was doing an interview? I mean, it's somebody famous that I should know the name, even though like Michael Jordan, but it wasn't Michael Jordan, but it was somebody like that. And they just froze right during an interview.
Yeah, yeah.
And they were like,
And then politicians, we've seen glitches with Mitch McConnell, with Nancy Pelosi, with Chuck Schumer. I mean,
and with
obvious
Hillary.
Hillary. Oh, that was another one that kept me on the rabbit trail. The one with her trying to
Oh,
blame
the
that
coffee.
head bobbling on chai tea, or when she was at the convention center and she was a dog at the balloons coming down, and Bill puts his arm around her, and she's just, yeah, she's.
Well,
Yeah, it was
Bill,
obviously the scuttlebutt back then during that was that they had the clone that they were using was reaching an expiration date and they didn't have the replacement ready. And I think that's happened a lot. Kudos to the White Hats. I hear there's been a lot of success in uncovering and dismantling cloning centers. So at one point, it was a big production industry with lots of outlets, and their outlets have minimized now. So they may be having to go to Plan B and C on those things.
um, one of the things that, well, the big thing I think that I knew it was real. First of all, I worked at CNN when Molly the sheep, is it Molly the sheep?
Dolly.
Dolly, Dolly the sheep. And I thought, uh-uh, no, I'm very suspicious of this because they kept saying things like, of course they can't do it with human beings. And I'm thinking, oh, I bet they can. Of course, the whole time I'm working there, it came to all of our attention that all of these leaders had not even just leaders, like drug kingpins and other people that are always trying to get assassinated, right? They're always trying to assassinate them. And I always tell this story, but then I remember Saddam Hussein, and there was video shown on CNN. They have to show us, right? And what they called them doubles, but there was a whole, he was out in the Mediterranean Sea or something, and there were boats all over with different Saddam Husseins. There must have been 50 of them because there'd been threats on his life, right? So they put him a, a double, or I think clumps, put them out on boats because it makes sense. That's what they're doing. They're the dark side of things. When once you get up there, you talk about George Bush, they want to make sure that you stay as long as they want you, and they want you under their complete control. They don't want you out there telling secrets and stuff like that. So,
Right. They
and
want to
the
get their
George,
money's worth for the cloning expense. Now, I also heard back when George Bush was cloned with that backpack thing, what they would do then, they being the dark side of things, the deep
yeah,
state, uh, they would clone entire families
yeah,
because the clone could not fool the original wife and children for very long. I think nowadays there's more situations where, and I've had a lot of my viewers have said, what about the families? No one gives us an honest answer or a clear answer. And I try to tell them that's because there's not just one answer. You have the old time process where they would replace entire families, where they had lots of satellite offices for cloning manufacture because people didn't know about it, so they
yeah,
could get the replacements up as they expired. Nowadays, I think we've got people that were placed into positions without having real families from day one.
yeah.
You know,
And
and
most of them are from certain bloodlines.
right, right.
Yeah,
And the other thing too is a lot of the wives, Q said, watch the wives. And a
Uh-huh.
lot of the wives are handlers
Yeah.
in Washington and around the globe. And so they go, as long as the gravy train keeps running, they'll work with whatever version is there. One in particular I heard was that Gavin Newsom, the original Gavin Newsom, he even had a underground play thing that you could play area for his dark deeds with little ones under his office. He was such an incredible, corrupt human, whatever, that his wife had no problem saying, okay, I'm on board. I'll pretend like the 2.0 is still my husband. No problem. No love was lost in that case. So sometimes it's things like that.
There he is.
Right,
And
right.
I was thinking this looked like a clone
Yeah,
right
yeah.
here.
I think they
Uh,
tried to use just a regular body double for a while. You could see when, after he'd been out of the public eye for a few weeks, when there was chatter in the alt media community that he'd actually been arrested and
yeah.
was going to be tribunaled. The first one that came on board didn't speak quite like he did, didn't seem comfortable with whatever. And so I don't know if I think that would have been a white hat type of placeholder, kind of like, okay, we're not ready to. Um, we're still in the middle of tribunal cleanups, and we don't want, the NPCs going nuts about it like they have about ICE,
Yeah.
because
Well, one of the
that kind of
things you
thing.
said that caught my attention when you were just talking about George Bush. Well, first of all, that how old was he there?
I don't know. This is 2004, so I don't know what his age would be.
Uh,
40s?
I'm wondering how close around World War II that was. That picture was taken
That
because
was in 2004. So I do know that. So that would have been,
the
yeah, this
truck
is George Bush Jr., not the dad. This is the second one,
with the
Jr.
truck in the truck with the
That's
thing
from
on his back.
2004.
Well, after World War II, Donald Marshall explained that a lot of these people, like Rockefeller and Rothschild, and of course, they were all there, when the Nazis, because I don't know, maybe it was lost technology or something like that, because I know they've been doing cloning since ancient Egypt and stuff like that, but I guess that after one of their events, the technology gets lost and they have to find it again. And of course, the Nazis were going out to, Antarctica. They knew stuff was under Antarctica and trying to get all the technology. But the first models they came out were called, one of them was called it was called a Mark IV or a Mach 4. And um, they that technology became outdated. So they were having a problem transferring them from one clone, an outdated clone, to another. And so that caused a lot of problems for it. If you look at Rockefeller and Rothschild and some of those people, they're deteriorating. They're not living and looking young forever. And I think it's because they cannot perfect getting them from one clone to another. The other thing you said, you were talking about that they go through the feet. Well, this really clicked with me because a lot of these scientists and New World Order people will be go out hiking and stuff, and they disappear and they show back up with no shoes.
Yeah.
A lot of them show back up with no shoes.
And maybe some of that boot club is not just hiding an ankle monitor,
Yeah.
but because they have to heal from a download.
Yep.
So there
So
may be a mix going on there too.
using the feet, though, they if they use it for cloning, they probably use the feet for other things because I've heard that you have a lot of skin cells and stuff at the bottom of your feet with a lot of DNA, rich DNA extraction on the feet. So I did hear about that and thought about that for the reason, but it all goes back to cloning, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
Yeah.
Now,
Um,
my understanding, Linda, is that cloning violates galactic law
yeah.
because, well, at least for us, because humans don't have the capability to transfer a soul, only
Right.
the consciousness.
Right.
So,
Sorry.
because of that, the white hats don't engage in that. So, when we look at clones, We're looking at a product of the deep state.
Yeah. Yeah, it violates all kinds of moral codes too, you know? I mean, even if you're using it, the problem is that even if you're using it for to have a clone of yourself so that you can replace the organ, supposedly would be a good reason to have a clone, quote unquote. But the problem is it gets in the hands of the wrong people and it's not organic. We live forever. We don't need clones. We don't have any use whatsoever for clones. Our vessels, we heal ourselves, and we also have the ability to actually uh, leave our bodies and go traveling and all kinds of other things. We don't need clones. There is no need, I think, for a morally based person to ever need a clone.
Right, right. You know, if you could if you could create from a stem cell an organ in isolation, say you need a liver or a new heart,
Right.
and you could create the organ by itself, I don't see a problem with that. What I see a problem with is creating a whole sentient being for the purpose of harvesting organs. That's
Well, you
just
know
so
what
wrong.
Donald Marshall said they do with the ones that don't come out, because a lot of times they don't come out. And I forgot how long he said it depends on, there was like three different methods he went over for doing it. One of them was accelerating uh, skin cells and just keep agitating them, and eventually you'll get a clone. They have the equipment that does that. And there was a lot of other ways, but that not all of them come out right, and they put them in a wood chipper. So it
Wow.
just it's just so grotesque and so inherently evil, the whole thing. I hate to use that word evil, but it's just negative. It's just for all the wrong reasons too, they're doing it.
Yeah,
To
yeah,
hold people in power or to keep entertainers performing long after they've died, their bodies have died. And also they use it for torture. They have something called Megadeth, which there's a band, a heavy metal band called Megadeth. They know all about it. They're reptilians.
yeah,
Like a lot of these bands that are heavy metal bands, they're all reptilians. If they're making a lot of money, like Megadeth and the other one,
yeah.
I can't think of their names, but Metallica, they're another ones. They're all reptilians, but they know exactly what Megadeth means when they name their band that, and that's what they did to. Oh, I can't think of his name. He was a black comedian and he was underground and he tried to get them to stop, mainly because of the cloning in the kids.
Yeah.
And they made an example out of him and they did what they call Megadeth, where they take you and torture you, but then they also torture and then they keep the natural one alive and they start by destroying the clones and torturing each clone. And they put the original person in the clone. So if you've got 8 clones or 9 clones, you're dying over and over and over again before they actually kill the source. And when they do that, that takes chunks of your soul away. They have it all down. They know how to do it. And what they do is they do it in the amphitheater under the Getty, and they fill it with Hollywood. And they have to cheer and act, they're trying to impress that they're bone evil. So this
Yeah,
doesn't happen to them
right.
because apparently it's like the worst thing that can happen to die a painful death over and over and over again. And probably sometime during the middle of this conversation, I'll blurt out his name like I've got that disease where you blurt out things. But I can't think of his name now. He was a black comedian and he had a good heart. And they made sure to make sure nobody else tried to do that. And apparently the Queen was there and all of Hollywood, and they watched it.
Oh,
They
wow.
were made to watch it and made to cheer. So they really don't want it to get out about the cloning and stuff like that and what they're doing, which is all coming out now.
It
And
is anyway, it is. And there's another option too that I think the white hats might be morally okay with, and that is synthetic humans.
yes,
So, yeah, so if it's simply a created being like that, synthetic from the get-go, uh, I think they can be used. Now, I'm not saying the white hats have done it because the deep state will do the anything also. But one of the ones you and I were talking off screen that we're almost completely convinced is a synthetic human is Don Lemon.
yes. Before I even knew there was a synthetic human, I used to say things about Don Lemon's skin. It didn't look real. It looked like some kind of polyurethane or something. Some kind of
Well, one of my
poly.
viewers has been awake way back and is familiar with things, goes into the 4chan, 8chan type of discussion things, and said that he and his friends talked about how Don Lemon was switched out during his CNN years, and it was obvious it wasn't the same one, number one. And now, all these years later, uh, this synthetic human version of Don Lemon is not able to age naturally.
Yeah.
He's in real life, that man is almost 60. And there's a limit to what you can do with good cosmetics, face masks, and plastic surgery. This synthetic model is simply not aging like a real human being would age.
Well, since this debacle with the church, he looks like he's aged 120 years. Like I saw one picture, I went, whoa, he went from tight to like, he looks like he's aged literally 20 years now. His skin is drooping now for the first time. His skin is drooping.
They
And
may have unplugged his
well,
rejuvenation.
you stole the joke right out of my mouth. I was going to say the worst thing they could do to Don Lemon is unplug him.
Yeah, let him catch up with his chronological original
Yeah,
age.
I mean,
Yeah,
and I just want to bring up this too. These clones, they need the blood and they need the fluids to keep going. If they don't have them, their clones break down because they're not producing it. It's a clone. It's not producing self-generating all that stuff. And so they need to consume it. And they actually, from what I understand, have them in a vat of that stuff when they're forming. They're actually feeding off of blood and all of
wow.
that other stuff while they're being programmed from the back of the neck. They have, instead of having an umbilical cord, they have I don't know what kind of cord it is, but it goes into a computer with programs. So they're downloading their history. Their whole childhood and history and all that stuff is written and
Yeah.
scripted in these downloads. And so that's what they think happened, I guess, is what was downloaded into them.
One of the phrases I've heard is that clones usually don't know they're clones, because they're programmed and they also can use those MK Ultra techniques to make them ignore or forget about the laboratory setting, etc.
Yeah.
And they truly don't know that they are. There's a story, I lived in Alaska for almost 30 years, and one of the closed down cloning facilities was said to have happened up in the far north in the bush, and that the natives had a story about how one day out of the blue in regular clothes in walks a Bill Clinton and to the the village and tells them that he's president and has to get to a big town, and that it was a clone that had wandered off the facility and what have you. So, you know,
We're going
uh,
to find out a lot about Alaska, actually, because where did all those leaders go
yeah,
when they went for a meeting? And
yeah,
not only that, you're right up there around Canada. And I just found this just in that zone, a whole bunch of stuff about Canada
yeah.
and all of the cryptids, Bigfoots, stuff like that. And I'll bet there's a lot of that stuff up in Alaska too. Uh,
I taught in a native village for 4 years, Selawik, and the natives there. talked about a race of little people. And one of the highly respected elders in the village, he and his wife became my friends. And he mentioned a hunting party. They were very strong. These little guys were very strong, that they had, they would be, not 2 feet tall, but that 3 or 4 of them could carry 1,000-pound moose. And he had actually seen them when he was out hunting. And they didn't bother them or anything else, but they just firmly believed that there was a race that was just sharing that space up in the Arctic, Siberian Arctic with them.
Canada, this one channel that I found, this guy's so good. He does a bunch of research on all this stuff about Canada, but they have a race of little people too in their woods.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
So these apparently
probably
look like natives,
connected.
just a very small version of them, kind of a pygmy or a little shorter. And you
Well, we
didn't
know
bother them.
fairies are real.
Oh yeah, I've had them.
Yeah.
And let me turn my camera here a little bit, just a little bit. It says fairies enchant this area. I've had so many fairies and
Well, I
orbs
would
show up
like
in
for
my
you to tell the
videos.
story of where the fairy came on your show.
Yeah, that was May 4th. I was doing a show, and we had a 2-second appearance of a fairy, and in my May 4th, and that was the clearest one. I was able to slow it down and freeze frame and see wings and the feet and the hands. So our world is just amazing. We don't have to make these, poor imitations of wonderful life, because we
Yeah.
share our plane of existence with so many beautiful, other types of beings.
Well,
And I think as we work on ascending and Earth is ascending and we are, there's going to be more and more appearances of them and more acceptance of, yeah, we've got fairies, we've got gnomes, we've got sprites, yeah, I think they're just going to have to accept it.
but I think it's going to be the good things, not because we're moving up. We're
Yeah,
moving into higher dimensions. So the things that we see from this point forward won't be the dark things that
right.
are appearing in LA, in California. I've heard even, this is all testimony from people who claim to have seen these things. But I've heard for a while there were people walking around LA that didn't have faces.
I totally believe that because
No faces.
uh, these are probably beings that previously were able to wear a disguise. And as our vibration and frequency has increased, their ability to sustain those has really dramatically decreased. And that's why people all of a sudden they're saying, oh man, the clerk at the liquor store, his eyes switched to reptilian and back. Yeah, there's going to be more instances like that where that facade drops, you know?
Well, I think we have way more than reptilians around, but I think the reptilians are responsible. Well, I think we have good. Uh, well, so, where did I see that video? Oh, I saw a download where someone said, what's her name? Anna Luna. What's her name? Paulina Luna. She's a senator, isn't she? Or a congresswoman?
I think
Paula,
so.
Paula, Paulina Luna. Is that her name?
I don't know, and we didn't talk about this off camera where I could do my
No, we
homework,
didn't.
but yeah, it
But
sounds familiar.
I just saw the download the other day where they said, "Who is Anna Paulina Luna or whatever her name is?" Which I didn't know either. They said she was a Palladian, and she's fighting with the right people. The right people don't like her. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm just throwing that out there. That was in a download. So, what that meant to me was we have positive beings that are maybe visiting or making an appearance here
Well, I refer
now.
to the alliance, and I tell people, accept as go as deep in my definition as you're comfortable with. To me, the alliance is not only a great majority of the nations of the world that have leaders that have said, yeah, it's time for change, it's time for sovereignty, it's time for an end to this, it's time to honor and respect life, but that we have some benevolent off-world members of that alliance too. I personally think that the whole organization Q is a team, and that not all of those members are human. And I've always felt that resonated with me.
Well,
That
it would resonate with us because we're not human either. I don't
we
think we are. Well,
there's got to be a reason we woke up to the extent that we did.
yeah,
There absolutely has to be.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think our DNA is going to be a
Pretty darn
surprise.
special.
Yeah. But because of that, I see when JD Vance starts talking, I see supernatural. I mean, I really do. Same with Rubio, the new Rubio. That's what I call him.
Yeah.
The old Rubio used to come out and go, "Yes, I'm Rubio Rubio," and then the whole place would fall asleep because he didn't really say much or anything. This new one is completely different. He's a
Yeah.
powerful speaker. He doesn't let anybody get away with anything.
Yeah.
And so, and I even Besant, Scott Besant, he just seems like he has like otherworldly powers, when they're out there dealing with these people. Besant, he never stops smiling.
Mhm.
No matter what they're saying to him, he's just smiling, waiting for his chance to answer. And they're so quick-witted and on point. You just can't, these anchors who have been doing this, well, a lot of them are new on the scene, but you and I know they're programmed to not let anything in. But it doesn't matter with Vance and Besant and Rubio. They just sit there and wait for the person to finish. Take all the
Wind
time you
down.
want. And then they just eviscerate it. What they do is they turn it around
Yeah.
and they say, well, because of what President Trump has done, like it all gets flipped around to all the good things that have happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they don't even hesitate. They don't get mad. They don't try to, you know,
They don't get defensive.
or
They,
just, what do you call it, joust with them or anything.
yeah.
They don't try to spar with them. They just wait for them to finish, and they're racking up all the good things that they can come back with to further declare, what a great job the president has done.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. They're
and
articulate and well spoken, and I love the humor, especially Rubio with all the costumes they've got him wearing in the
with the
memes.
sombrero on.
Yeah, all those. And they lean into it instead of getting offended, like take that down, like Gavin Newsom did.
Yeah.
Look at all the JD Vance versions, and he posts them himself. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a military mindset humor.
Yeah.
That's a nod to the fact that we definitely got, because the white hats do. They are military based, sourced, I think, in great, percentage of them. And that military humor, it shines through and it's just unmistakable.
It's a
Absolutely.
show.
Yeah.
And the part that I did, my friend Susan sent me the coffee cup, and it's got Trump in the garbage truck, Trump behind McDonald's making French fries. It's like every troll is a military style troll. Biden calls us garbage. Here comes Trump with the garbage truck out there. And everybody's showing up with orange vests on, and you see it all over the world.
Yeah.
So, yeah, okay. You want to call us garbage, it's going to come. And they hate it.
Yeah. We're going to
They
lean into
hate
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
No
they
problem.
can't.
Call. Well, and two, when someone calls you names and they don't matter to you and they're not speaking sense, just lean into it and have fun with it.
But
So,
more to the point of protect your DNA, ascend, they are keeping the vibrations high.
mhm.
It's because those remarks are made to cause anger and to trigger Trump
Mhm.
supporters to be, hey, you're going to call us garbage, we're going to beat the hell out of you and all this, and to get people's morale down.
Yeah.
Um, just that you have to fight like that, that you have to go out there and defend yourself. But in comes Trump with the garbage truck. And
Leaning
suddenly
into it. We
everybody's
don't have to
wearing
fight
the
it. You call
vest.
us names, it's like whatever. Or your point is, it's, yeah, just have fun with it.
But they're ready on hand. Like these people who are trying to agitate, now they're running into the Department of Justice. And now, and Pam Bondi just said they got another radical judge that these people are coming out and showing themselves, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So now
Yeah.
they know where the judges are all crooked. And Pam Bondi said they're going to find another way to charge Don Lemon because what they did was that's another testimony to his clonedom. They're not acting human.
Right. And he was in that church and asked to leave. And so he was trespassing. It was a violation of their rights to assemble peacefully and worship. And it wasn't just protesters with signs outside the building. They went in and caused harm. And we're just lucky that there wasn't more that happened in that incident. So God was keeping people safe,
Well, children
definitely.
were crying. They
Yeah.
were screaming. They came in like a bunch of maniacs screaming, calling them, you're fascist, you're this, you're that. What about the children of the Mexican? And I'm thinking, what about the children that these assholes are trafficking? What about the, oh, I'm getting all triggered now. But anyway, yeah, I was thinking when they were saying that, of course, that's what it was meant to do, start a fight, start some kind of fist brawl, But in the meantime, children were frightened. They were clinging to their parents, these maniacs screaming at them. They all smelled bad. They were in there with their stinky selves, like and
Yeah.
masked by Don Lemon's overuse of cologne, no doubt. It was BO and cologne.
Yeah. Quote in
Yeah.
combination.
How dare
And
they, though? How
yeah.
dare they do that?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
just And that's what the KKK used to do in black churches, and they used that law against them.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. So there's laws on the books, and he may very well get charged. But again, this is a replacement version. The original, I think, has already had some consequencing that's much more severe.
he's not
Uh,
acting right.
yeah.
And they are ego-based, all of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
He is so smug, and all of them are. Jimmy
Well,
Kimmel,
he's obviously just he's trying to get relevance.
yeah.
He wants his moment in the spotlight in the sun to continue. And he also said he'd be another Jimmy Kimmel. And Jimmy, after a short suspension on TV, came back with stronger ratings, which is unique right now because late night TV has been in a decline for years. And I think
Did
it's
he,
just a
though?
temporary bubble, but he's wanting that for himself too. I want to
Yeah,
project myself back into network TV or contracts and if you come after me, then I can leverage that notoriety into something that'll, make me some money.
but you're going to have to prove it to me that Jimmy Kimmel's ratings went up.
I think they're being artificially bolstered.
Well,
Now, there
that's
may
what I
be
think.
he's been doing some NFL highlights, I understand, um, throughout the season, even though we know that's all
Yeah,
scripted. But that might have helped a little bit. But I think it's like some of these big accounts that we see that have millions of viewers and we know they don't.
yeah.
I think they just, artificially deflate some, like mine,
I
and
think he
increase
pays
others
that
like,
audience. I do. He's
yeah,
under a tremendous budget. He has all these people under, and people are asking, what do they do? What do all these people do? Every other late night show has a fraction of what he has. Well, I would submit to you that it's a good chance that audience is paid every night
yeah,
because,
it really is just all a show.
yeah.
Absolutely. Well, before we wrap things up, I do have my tarot cards. I didn't know if there was a topic or question you wanted to put to the tarot. We don't have to. I just thought I'd offer. If you were
Well, let me
curious about
think
something.
here. We've got so many. Well, should we stick with Don Lemon because we're going to do this
Now, I
again?
did a video about him just 2 days ago. about his dare. And in the course of that, I got that he's a replacement of the original, etc. So I
I
don't know
want
that
to know
we
if he's
can,
going to be arrested because even no matter what he is, he
yeah,
needs to be arrested for everybody to see that because
okay,
this can't happen again, this going into
okay.
the churches. Look, I'm not a Christian in the sense that I don't believe in man-made religion, but I'm spiritual as hell. Okay.
Okay, so we're going to ask, I'm going to do just three
And I
cards.
defend, I just want to finish that because I defend any Christians to have any kind of freaking church they want to go into and worship. Because I think in the end, even though a lot of us don't agree on the hows and the whys and the wherefores, we're all paying homage to the same source being,
The creator of
creator.
all creators,
Yeah.
right?
And
And I
so
always say I support the right of any peaceful faith path to exist and do whatever it is they do.
I'll
I
defend
don't
their right
agree
to.
with all of them, but they have the right. If it's a peaceful path, they have the right to do what they're doing, and um, it's their journey, you know?
Right. And
So
I will defend that, is the
yeah,
way I feel.
I'm gonna switch the camera, do three cards, and then I'll come back and we'll talk about what those cards meant.
Please.
Okay. 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 So is Don Lemon, the person that was in the church on that regrettable January 18th incident, is he going to be arrested?
The reason I ask this
You
too
know,
is
some legal, obvious public legal consequences for that. Okay, we've got the Knight of Cups. Okay, so the three cards we got are there. Coming back online here. So let's look at that. We have an answer with the Knight of Cups. Um, this card often indicates some false promises, etc. So his bravado is
his
a fake.
bravado.
Yeah,
I'm
his.
worried
This is
about
his.
Pam Bondi a little bit. I don't
The
know.
we don't have to worry. This card is the strongest military strategy card in the deck. Talks about, so this is indicating the government action about it. They found some holes in his story. His explanation for I was only doing this, I was being a journalist, I was not inciting, I was not, they found holes in the story and they're building a case. And the outcome, yeah, he's going to be defending himself and not too successfully. So yeah, it looks like he's going to get charged for that. There are going to be some charges preferred, maybe not by totally useless and ineffective Pam Bondi, but the DOJ does have some competent members in their midst. So, and I do know I did see a tweet when Don had put up his video about daring the Trump administration to come get him, the DOJ to come get him. Uh, Assistant Attorney General Dillon, she just put okay
Oh
at the
yeah, I
top.
saw that. Okay, we'll be there in a little while.
Yeah, you want it, you got it. No problem.
Yeah, I think he needs to. I'm worried about Pam Bondi. I really don't know about her at all. Maybe at some point you might do a reading on your show about Pam Bondi, or have you already?
I have. My feeling is Pam Bondi from day one in this administration has been a 2.0, a replacement of the original. And but I didn't know which way it was going to go. So you see, the original Pam Bondi totally botched the opportunity when she was Assistant Attorney General for Florida to really aggressively go after Epstein and his crimes. And so that enabled them to continue for years and years more. She had other troubling connections to the deep state. The original did. And so I felt like since day one, they tried to explain the switcheroo by she had a weight loss. big weight loss, which they
Ozempic? That's what they're blaming
which
it all on.
they try to do. But no, it's a totally different person playing that part.
Yeah.
And but what I wondered was, are they going to have her be effective? And that would, in essence, create a kind of balancing legacy for the name Pam Bondi. So I didn't know if I knew she was either going to come through great or come through bad. It wasn't going to be
Well,
so good. And so far, she has been a huge disappointment. And it looks to me like they're letting her first legacy stand for her permanent one, which is ineffective and a disappointment.
well,
So,
and it could be that I just came into my head, but it could be that that's the plan all along to move her out and move somebody else in that's really gonna bring down the hammer.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Matt Gates is a 2.0, but he's a good one. I think he could be effective. Janine Perot.
What do you think
Um,
happened to these people? They were arrested?
well, like it depends on, yeah, tribunal situations for crimes
Yeah.
against humanity, because you don't have to be in the military. If you have crime against humanity, you can be tribunaled. And it's like, oh, how off topic do we want to go here? The original JD Vance, because I believe we got a 2.0 going on there too.
Yeah.
His connection to that biotech startup company, I think was called Ambrosia, where they sold blood from young donors for $8,000 a liter. I think again crossed some big boundaries and became a crime against humanity. And the one we got now, like I said, I see that military humor. I love him. I adore him. The original, again, I think was consequenced for um, crimes against humanity. Because
So do
really,
you
there's a
think,
limited number of tribunal possibilities for the general public. And treason is possible, crimes against humanity, interfering with elections. Those are the things that can get even a civilian into a uh, military justice court.
yeah, I think all the stuff they're disclosing now with the funds and stuff like that, that could all get them into, enough trouble to open the door to the others because it's like a avalanche, like once they peel off that top layer of all this unbelievable amount of funds that they've stolen.
Corruption. Yeah,
And actually, the whole system is like a mafia operation, like every state is going to have one of these. And, but I think the doors are going to be opening for, because once you get into the whys, it's going to get into human trafficking and, because there's even more money, that they're
right,
making.
right.
And so, where's all this money coming from? Gun sales, drug sales, human trafficking, our tax dollars, but it's going to be so overwhelming. It's going to have to come out you're going to
And
have
part of
to
that too,
understand each layer, as it
right.
comes out.
Now, part of that right now, during Biden's term in office, and I know it was a fake administration, but some of the things he was allowed to do stood at the time, and
Yeah.
he affirmed, I think it was, I want to say 500 federal judges he appointed. So they're having to clean up the judicial ranks from these, corrupt judges that aren't in an unbiased fashion, running their courts.
And we
So,
still have not covered the area of double agents, people that the deep state thought were part of their team, but there's some, I honestly believe that the white hats have more at their disposal than the black hats because these clones and things are breaking down and everybody's breaking down because they don't have what they need. The vibrations are going up, up,
the
up.
scales have tipped. They have
Yeah.
tipped. Okay, so there's fewer cloning facilities because the white hats have shut down a bunch of them. So they have less access to the technology. We're drying up the access to little ones for, the adrenochrome, etc. Our world is becoming is ascending, and so or realm, or however you want to phrase it, and people are. And so yeah, so the evil can't hide as effectively, it can't camouflage itself as effectively. We know evil is not creative. That's part of the reason why they just keep harping. They want us to get mad. Well, you used to get mad, get mad. No, we've moved past that. We're just laughing at you now.
Yeah, they really want to eat.
Yeah.
I mean, they really want to feed, because that's another thing that synthetic video said. Even the synthetics need the negative uh
Deluge.
deluge. They need that.
Yeah.
Without
Makes
it,
sense.
they won't survive.
Yeah.
They'll
So
die
starve
off.
them. Starve them.
Yeah. So
So
it's like
yeah, I
a
think we're going to see
massive,
more and more change, more and more clones breaking down, or synthetics breaking down, or being obvious in what they are. And
like
yeah,
Kelly
quite honestly,
Osbourne, which we didn't get a chance to talk about today, but we don't really have to show any pictures really, because they're all over the internet. And I really think this is the white hats getting people to want to know more, ask more questions, because not only does this second one that came out not look anything like Kelly Osbourne, but now we got like either a debilitated version of that or a new clone that came out that looks horrible.
yeah,
So there's like multiple versions of her that are deteriorating, but everybody notices it. And this last one that looks so weird, it's like at the pointed face and doesn't look anything like Kelly's, all emaciated and everything with this new blonde hair. They it was a tweet, I think, or I don't know, maybe one of those other social medias where she said, everyone's waiting for my new lip liner to come out. I was reading the comments on my last video where nobody in the comments section
wants
was
to look
like,
like you.
girl, we are not looking at your lip liner. And it was like, what are you doing? What's the matter with you, Kelly? The one girl went, this makes me want to cry. Kelly, what are you doing to yourself? Because I think they're saying it's Ozempic for Sharon Osbourne and Kelly Osbourne. But
Yeah, yeah,
they're so high up in it because Sharon Osbourne, born in Oz, that's pretty much Ozzy Osbourne. It doesn't
yeah,
get more Wizard of Oz than that. And we all know what the Wizard of Oz is about. So MK Ultra.
hmm,
So they're all neck deep in it.
yeah, yeah.
And Ozzy going on tour and stuff like that. I mean, these people are traveling the world, and it seems like all of them are just covers for a lot of child trafficking and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And at the end of Trump's first official term in office, he had really done a lot to stop the child trafficking. And do you remember about the time COVID was going on? People decoded the fact that they were talking about roses, trying to get
Yeah,
roses delivered, and we realized it was a dream. So Oprah was telling someone else that she had some roses delivered, and
yeah,
here was a possibility you might be able to get roses. I don't have roses to send you, but and it was all talking about. Well, then
yeah.
when the Biden came in,
Glenn
brought
Close.
in all the kids, so they had a 4 year uh, feast of plenty, and things are
Well,
changing
Glenn
again.
Close did a video where she was sitting on all these pillows, and it was a real close up of her sitting on a bed of roses, And what's her name? Julia Louise Dreyfus did a video where she's putting lipstick all over around her mouth, like she just drank blood or something.
Yeah,
Just scribbling it over her mouth. And uh, Drew Barrymore did the one where she was grabbing her head and everything. Like, what is happening? Where are we going to get our,
yeah,
And
yeah,
they all made it. What's his name? Uh, 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 the guy from Saturday Night Live that kept drawing the Howie Mandel. He's not from Saturday Night Live, I guess, but there was another guy from Saturday Night Live, the guy that was married to the lady that hung herself and made the pocketbooks. Anyway, probably out of human skin. But they were all acting crazy, trying desperately to
They were in
signal,
withdrawal. It was
yeah,
obvious.
that they needed.
And I think there's more of that happening now too, because again, the supply lines have been cut. Thank you. It's not just fentanyl that they have cut a lot of the supply lines to.
A Adrenaline and stuff like that, which
That's a good idea.
could be something like Valvoline that goes in your car, you know. So yeah, but I don't want to cause any waves because I really believe the white hats have control over YouTube, and it's the information has to be disseminated in a certain way. It's very well planned, and I don't want to
Mhm.
do anything to cause any problems, you know. So
Yeah, yeah. No, I don't either. I've often said, I have was told by someone who says they have some white hat ties that I'm sometimes over my skis, getting to a topic before they're ready.
yeah.
And I thought they need to tell me.
Well,
I look at the news, I get an idea, I do a video. So tell me to hold off on it and I'll be glad to,
well,
as
I
long as
think
I know
they
it's a white
are
hat
telling us.
source.
I think that's what this is. You know, they are telling us because I got a warning for one of mine where I was showed a meme from our friend, our favorite Anon, that talked about the military-industrial complex, and it had all these things listed, and that was labeled dangerous conspiracy theories. But I was told that I wasn't getting in any trouble or anything, but not to do it again.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
didn't
Not
get,
yet. Not yet.
well,
Like I said,
I don't have any marks or any strikes or anything against me for it.
I took the training and I've
Well, again, I
guys, it's
understand.
like HR issues if you're in the workplace. YouTube gives us strikes or they'll give us a timeout and we can have the mark erased from our if we take the training. So I've had the medical misinformation training and I've had the
Oh, yeah, because I went to close it and it took me to that. I went to go do something to it. It said I wasn't in any trouble. I didn't have to do anything. And but it said if I wanted to, I could take the training.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I
and I
hit
did
it.
because I thought who knows when I'll get in trouble again. It could happen.
I hit it, but I decided I didn't want to take it.
Yeah, yeah, it was pretty it was what I expected.
Yeah. So
So,
nothing happened to me. I'm still on there, and I beep things out if I have any question about it. I'll beep it out with a sound effect or something
oh, good,
because
good.
people can put the sentence together.
They can put the context together just fine. Yeah,
And if they can, then they're not going to be freaking out over the information. And I'm interested to see how they do it anyway. I
yeah,
want to see how they start. But you can kind of see it with they're doing these financial crimes first. And the
yeah,
financial crimes will lead to where it needs to go. Not only that, there's going to be disclosure things happening, so the two will come together at some point. It will
right,
be,
right. Yeah,
they're not human, it's like they're not like us, and
right,
and anybody that's like them has probably been compromised in some way.
right, right.
So, I think it will not cause fear and people to freak out. But you see how these people are.
Yeah,
I don't know whether half of them are real or not that just will not listen. The information's not going to get in, even though it's patently false and it's a lie. They're clinging to it, and
well, we talked about how some of these people are MK Ultra programmed, you
yeah.
know, and yeah, so
It
and
will
then we can,
literally cause, I was listening to one of the downloads, their brains to start like malfunctioning and maybe even hemorrhaging and stuff like that because it won't connect. It will be a complete disconnect for them, which will cause all kinds of horrible things to happen inside of their brain.
yeah,
And it
yeah,
could literally damage them.
Yeah.
And I don't want that to happen. I'm not sitting here, wanting them to die or to, the people who are human, who are connected, who are part of our, group,
Yeah. Yeah.
connected to
And even if they're
source.
not, if they're alive in whatever form or fashion, I don't want to be in charge of causing distress for any living being, no matter what version of a living being they are, you
Well,
know.
it's my,
But that doesn't mean I'm going to be mealy mouthed and let them, you know, uh, tell me what to believe, say, or do. It's
well,
just, it's a do no harm type of thing. I
yeah.
believe that.
And from my understanding, the ones that are not connected to source will just go away. In other words, they won't be able to survive.
And
Uh,
that's up above our pay grade. We don't have to worry about it. We're
right.
just
They will,
gonna,
I think they dissipate or something like that because it'll go so far and then it'll just diminish. It'll just disappear
yeah, yeah,
or come apart or turn to dust or however it happens. And that at that time, they will not, they will go with the planet in that regard because they're not connected.
right.
They
Yeah,
can't move on to the next level
yeah,
like we can.
yeah.
And so, well, Laura, this has been fascinating conversation. Of course, I'm going to say something now to the audience that all of our conversations are fascinating. So I knew this one was going to be as fascinating as all of our conversations are. And
Well, we get into long phone conversations we have for the last 2 or 3 years, and typically about 45 minutes in, we'll say, we should be recording this.
I know.
But this is what two people that are awake and willing to consider possibilities and not be so entrenched in one belief system that it offends us to consider another. This is the kind of conversations that I think a lot of us awake look forward to.
Yeah,
And they're too rare and don't happen often enough.
no, they don't. And when I say it's my understanding, that goes for it's my understanding now.
Yeah.
My mind is wide open. I'm not going to say no to pretty much anything at this point. You're going to be able to put whatever in front of me and I'll go, okay.
Okay, rewrite. Okay, this is it
Well,
now.
I
And
have a big bag of possibilities
yeah,
and I don't say no to any of them because I don't know what's coming next. Do you?
yeah. No, no, I've often said that there's things I believe to be absolutely true. Then there's, like you said, there's that big basket of possibilities, and they range from likely to very unlikely. But there is, you know what? My hell no, no way in hell cup is like the size of a shot glass.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, yeah, because it's like, well, with the information I have now, even that little shot glass could get poured into the possibility and then get poured into the
If you're
truth.
talking about possibilities, but the possibility of you voting Democrat is a hell no.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
right in that glass, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm not a party member for either party, and I think we too often have a uniparty situation going on.
Yeah,
But of the candidates out there, yeah, my vote's going to go to the conservative one, and we know which party that is not.
yeah, yeah. No, I'm an independent as well, and I think there should be one party, the American Party,
Yeah,
and just have
we,
it be that.
our founding father documents said nothing about the party system. That was foisted on us later, and I don't think it's done us any favors or done good. We need to be able to look at candidates based on their track record and their merit, and we don't even need parties.
No, we don't. We really don't, because we all live in this country and we all want the best for our country.
Yeah,
And the only reason that it's not like that now is because of reptilians.
yeah, yeah. I think you're right.
I hate to
Well, thank you for
simplify it.
having me on. I appreciate it so
You're
much.
welcome. And with that, I am going to just simply